Welcome to Bike Ride Reviews. I'm Scott, and today I've got the Ramblas ADV from Aventon here for testing. This is the second generation hardtail e-mountain bike from the brand that they say can handle real trails, steep climbs, and still double as a daily commuter. Those are some steep claims for an e-bike that costs less than $3,000. So let's put it to the test today. The bike arrived well packaged, and Aventon's clever box design makes unpacking simple. Assembly is also straightforward, with only the handlebars, front wheel, pedals, and the optional headlight and kickstand left to install. The shifting came pre-indexed, and the brakes ran true out of the box. Now let's take a closer look at what you're actually getting for the money. The Ramblas ADV comes in medium, large, and extra large, covering riders from 5'5" to 6'5". I'm testing the large size, which I weighed at 55 pounds. This is a pretty standard weight for an electric mountain bike at this price point, especially one with a large 20 amp hour battery. The Ramblas ADV is driven by Aventon's A100 mid-drive motor. It puts out a nominal power of 250 watts and a peak output of 750 watts and 100 Newton meters of torque. You have 4 modes to work with: Eco, Trail, Turbo, and Auto, all of which can be customized in the Aventon app. The bike ships as Class 1, with a top speed of 20 miles per hour. But you can switch to Class 3 mode in the app to reach up to 28 miles per hour if your local laws allow it. One thing worth highlighting for those familiar with Aventon's commuter lineup is that, like most mid-drive e-mountain bikes, the Ramblas doesn't have a throttle. The Ramblas' 36-volt, 708 watt-hour battery is integrated into the frame behind a removable plastic cover and locked with a keyed lock. The keyhole is under the cover, and the charge port sits behind a rubber cap on the seat tube. The cover sits flush with the frame, seals well, and is easy to open and close. The only thing worth watching out for is the pedal hitting the cable if you move the bike while it's plugged in. Beyond the motor and battery, the component list reads well. You get a RockShox Silo Silver R coil fork with 130 millimeters of travel and rebound adjustment, and a mix of SRAM's NX and SX Eagle drivetrain components, including a 10 to 50 tooth 12-speed cassette and a 34-tooth chainring. The brakes are SRAM DB6 4-piston hydraulic discs with 200 millimeter rotors, and the rotor is an X-Fusion Manic LC with 150 millimeters of travel across all sizes. All of these components are admittedly budget level, but since they're from recognized brands, they should be easy to service, replace, or upgrade. A notable upgrade from the previous generation is the swap to the tubeless ready version of the Maxxis Recon 2.4-inch tire. The pre-taped rims mean converting your new e-bike to tubeless is easy. I did it on this bike and it was simple. You just need sealant and valves. For those who do want to use the Ramblas ADV as a commuter, Aventon includes a kickstand and a removable front light. Now let's get out on the trail and see how the bike performs in some real-world conditions. My first thoughts on the Ramblas are that it looks great. It really appears to be well made. And I found a good fit on the size large frame at 6 feet tall. So I was immediately comfortable hopping on and going for a ride. I started out by testing the different modes and quickly found that trail mode, or mode 2 out of 3, was the sweet spot, or at least my preference for general trail riding. In trail mode, I found that hills felt half as hard, but my legs were still working and my breathing was up. I was just able to do several laps where normally on my regular bike I'd only do one. Stock Eco mode gives you a little bit of assistance, but still lets you feel like you're getting a great workout. And personally, I found Turbo mode to have a lot of power off the line for most situations. It's a little too fast, although that was pretty welcome on steep, non-technical climbs, or when you're really tired and you want maximum assist. Auto mode automatically switches between the different pedal assist levels, and I found it to do a pretty good job, although it can provide a little bit too much power for this situation I found, and that makes it a little bit power hungry and can deplete the range. Climbing is where the Ramblas ADV really shines. Aventon's mid-drive motor pairs perfectly with that 12-speed drivetrain to allow you to maintain a great cadence up a variety of inclines, and you get really natural feeling pedal assist that allows you to tackle some seriously steep grades. The bike finished our steep elevation hill test at an average speed of 15.8 miles per hour, which is a great time and speed, but it is worthy to note this is over a paved climb. Going downhill, you feel the bike's 55 pounds. In flowy blue and green single track, the bike handles pretty well. It feels stable and planted. But as soon as you start to press into more technical situations with drops and jumps, you'll start to find the bike's limits pretty quickly. Aventon positions the Ramblas as an entry-level mountain bike or commuter, pushing riders who want a true e-mountain bike towards the full suspension current. Overall, I found the brakes and tires to be a good match for the bike over green and blue single track. Over steep or loose terrain, I had to pick my lines carefully due to the bike's weight and the modest cross-country tread on the tires. Converting the bike to tubeless and running a lower tire pressure helped, but I still feel that a more aggressive tire would benefit this bike. On flow trails and moderate single track, that coil suspension fork surprised me, performing better than the specs suggested. It doesn't have compression adjustment or a lockout, so lighter riders might find that it's a little bit firm, and heavier riders might find that it bottoms out easily. At 200 pounds, I actually found that it performed pretty well and didn't bottom out nearly as much as I imagined it would. Now that said, aside from some more aggressive tires, I still think that the front fork would be one of the first upgrades for me. One persistent annoyance throughout testing was the cable rattle coming from inside of the frame. It was consistent and annoying. So if you value a quiet bike, this one's gonna get to you. And again, this bike isn't only aimed at trail riders. Aventon includes a front light and a kickstand. And they also sell a fender kit and a rear rack to make it a true commuter. In range testing, the battery lasted over 46 miles with more than 2,200 feet of elevation climb over a mix of gravel, pavement, dirt paths, and trail laps. That was the most range out of any bike in the comparison group. And the battery meter was also accurate, so the range estimate really eliminated any range anxiety. So after all that, where does the Ramblas ADV land? Well, I found the Ramblas ADV is a capable entry-level hardtail that I feel delivers real value. Aventon also made some meaningful improvements over the first version, including a quieter and more responsive motor, tubeless-ready wheels and tires, and a higher quality dropper. In testing, this bike topped the group of comparison mid-drive e-bikes on the steep climb, and it covered the most elevation of any bike in the range test. The motor delivers refined power, and the drivetrain works well with plenty of gearing range. The 55-pound Ramblas feels planted on flowy trails, but if the trail gets tight or technical, or you're looking to catch some air, you quickly reach the limits of the tires and the entry-level suspension fork. If you're a newer e-mountain bike rider with a limited budget and you're looking to explore some single track, the Ramblas ADV is worth adding to your shortlist. It's more than enough for beginner trails, and it'll carry you through some intermediate terrain too, with plenty of scope for upgrades down the line. So what do you think of the Aventon Ramblas ADV? Let me know in the comments. And if you own one of Aventon's models, I'd love to hear your experience. If you're still looking for the next bike, check out bikeride.com. We got hundreds of bike reviews, plus handy search tools and our curated best bike lists to narrow the search. You can also find ride events near you to join, brush up on maintenance with our repair guides, or discuss anything to do with bikes in our forums. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for our next review.